Alright, in this video I want to talk about the if statements, the max and the min statements, and do a little copying. But first I want to ask you, where did your eye go when you first opened the spreadsheet? Did you notice the color? So what color does is it draws your eye. So you want to use it sparingly so people will look at the right spot on the spreadsheet. You don't want to use it too much. There's also other ways, like a certain type of cell. This is an input cell or an output cell. That's also color. But you can use too little and you can use too much. It's very subjective. But that's for another day. So I want to copy a specific portion of this. I'm not doing Control A, which selects the whole thing. And notice I didn't freeze the pane, so I don't really know what's in column A through F anymore. I'm just going to work with the top part here. I just want to copy A1 to F13. So I press the Shift and then the arrow keys, and with the Shift and the arrow keys I can move around wherever I want to. So if I'm just doing a part, I can do page down and page up. So if I'm just doing a part, I can copy it by holding Shift and arrow keys, or page up, page down. Or I can do it with the mouse, whichever, but I want to focus on doing things without the mouse. Control C to copy it, come over here to H1, Control V to paste. And now I have the data that I want to look at, and just arbitrarily pick some data to look at. And I want to look at the max statement. So I want to find the highest return for each stock. So equal max, and again I type the M and the A. This comes up, down arrow key to here. I'll look for this whole column. So go up with the arrow key, period, and I can do page up because I don't have very far to go. Instead of doing Control Up, whichever one is better, and then down with the arrow key to get just to the numbers. So if you highlight the ticker, the column heading, it's not a number, so it's still going to give you the same answer. And again, I don't want to put the close the parenthesis here because it's a waste of my time. I just hit enter. The parenthesis closes automatically. Now I just want to drag this over to get all the max right there. And I can double click one of them, and yes, it's dragging over the way I wanted it to. Alright, so I also want to find which one of these I want to, without visually having to go through here. I'm going to delete these now. I'm going to clear this out. So without having to go through here visually and see which one of these is the highest, I want to have a 0 and a 1. 0 meaning it's not the max, 1 meaning it is the max, for each one of these stocks. So how do I do that? That's an if statement. I want to look and think, when you're using Excel, think what do you do almost subconsciously when you have to explain it to Excel. So I look at this number and say, is it the max of this entire column? No. Is this number the max? No. But if this number right here, if this number was the max, I would want to have a 1 for May 2007. It's not the max. So what am I going to do? Oh, so I need an if statement as equal if, and again type the I, the F comes up tab. And the if statement consists of a logical test, comma, what do I do if that test is true, comma, what do I do if that test is false. So my test is this number equal to the max of all of this? Close parenthesis, and I'm purposely making a mistake here, comma 1, comma 0, hit enter. I didn't close parenthesis, but it gives an automatic correction. Hit yes, that's it. Now these are going to be zeros or ones. I don't need decimal places for this, so I'm just going to make that number no decimals. So I'm going to go back here, equal max that I did before, period, page up, down. So I look at these max numbers, and what's happening here in this if statement, look, it's saying if this number, if 0.0105 is equal to, and this max is, Excel sees it as the actual number 0.2377. If that's true, put a 1. If not, put a 0. Well, it's not, so put a 0. So I'll just copy this down. I double click, right, with a white cross becomes a black cross. I double click, and there's a bunch of zeros, but anytime I copy something like this, I want to error check. So I just randomly select one of these, double click. That moved. I didn't lock it down. If this was just one mistake, I could take this and move it wherever I wanted to, but this is a series of mistakes. So what I should have done, I should have locked this down. So I'm going to lock it down, both of them. By the way, if I did this at first, I wouldn't have to press F4 twice. So I'm going to lock these down. And look what I can do. By the way, I'm going to get rid of, to show you copying what's fast and what's not fast. So I double click this down. And now I think this is going to work. So yeah, it's letting the individual cell move. It's saying is 0.2143 equal to the max, but it's keeping the range the same. That's exactly what I want to happen. So now I can, and there's a mistake in here, so I can copy this over and then double click that down, but that doesn't work. So let me show you what you want to do. Before you copy down, if you're going to be copying a table like this, before you copy down, you need to copy across. And there's still a mistake in here, so don't worry, I know about it. So I'm going to copy across, then I can copy down. And this is going to work. So I error check, that's working, but it's not enough to do the first column. Come over here and do another column. It's looking, this number is at the max of this range, but I want it to be the range for IBM. So what should I have done? What I should have done, what's going to change and what doesn't change? Well, the rows, 2 to 13, it's always row 2 to 13, whether it's Apple, Home Depot, Microsoft, Walmart, IBM, it's always row 2 to 13, but the column changes. So press F4, and that makes the $sign in front of the row. Press F4 again, $sign in front of the row, perfect. Copy this across. Notice when I copy, and by the way, it destroys my border. That's fine. And then double click. Seems to be working. Because I'm a little OCD, I'll put that border back. Now, there's one more thing I want to check. Each one of these stocks, it should just have one max, right? You can't have two. Unless they randomly happen to be the exact same number, that would be kind of weird. Or random. Alt equal lets me sum those up. And I can copy this across. And again, I always want to have things looking good, so each one of them just has one. Even sum that and see that I have 5. So this works. I have an if statement that tells me this is the max. So the point of this is showing you how to do the if statement, how to copy, a couple different scenarios for copying, and doing the max statement. So let's repeat it for min. So I just want to, I wouldn't need to do this, but just visually I can see which one's the minimum. By the way, one of the things you want to do with a spreadsheet is, this is not being created. In your school life, you're worried about 14 weeks, right? And then you're never going to see it again, this spreadsheet. Those of you who are working know that you may have to go back and look at something that was created 6 months ago or a year ago. You may be using this a lot. So when you build a spreadsheet the first time, you take a lot of time to make sure it's right. Now that I know it's right, I can use it and not worry about it as much. So maybe the first time through, I want to actually get the min. See, the minimum, it's going to be November. So this better show up in November, and this one better show up in September, and on like that. Now to change this, again, the one thing don't do, some people come up here and they start to backspace. You don't want to do that. Some people get stuck in a formula and they don't know what to do. If you get stuck, press the escape button. That's what escape means. I just want to change this to min. Let's change it to min. And then, again, I don't want to copy down first, copy across first, then copy down. Yeah, that's November, that's September, copy and destroyed my little box, and now I have it. So, kind of quick and dirty there, but hopefully you see if, min, max, and some short ways to copy.